In this module, I'll go over some practice exercises to help reinforce some of the material. Here we're asked to look at some phrases and decide if they're terms or non-terms. And when we're going through this, I encourage you to stop the video to try and decide what you think the answer is. And then start the video again, compare what you got with what I got. How you were thinking about the problem is how I was thinking about the problem. The first phrase here is graceful dancer. Well, graceful dancer could definitely be the subject of a sentence. The graceful dancer was widely admired. So it's got to be a term. Not only. Not only doesn't seem like a term. It doesn't seem like it could be the subject of a sentence. The tallest man on the squad. That could definitely be a term. It's a description, and so it could be the subject of a sentence. The tallest man on the squad was also the worst basketball player. Mountaintop. That could definitely be the subject of a sentence. The mountaintop was covered in flowers. Between. Between isn't a term. I don't think it could be used as the subject of a sentence. Since. Same story with since, I think. Lookout. Now, lookout could be a little bit tricky. Lookout could be a verb, as in look out. It could be a warning, as in look out. Or it could be a person and the subject of a sentence, as in I was assigned to be the lookout, or the lookout fell asleep on duty. Next, I'll give you some definitions and see if you can categorize them as stipulative, lexical, precising, theoretical, or persuasive. Wristovision means a miniature television set that can be worn on the wrist. In this case, I'd probably go with stipulative. I'm not aware of any wristovisions out there, so it doesn't seem like it's a lexical term. It's not a refinement of a previously existing term to decrease vagueness. It's sort of technological, and yet it doesn't really include any theory. And it's certainly not laden with normative or emotive content. Fiduciary means having to do with a confidence or trust, a person who holds something in trust. Now this seems like a lexical definition. It has that lexical definition form where you give one version and then you give another version of the conventional connotation. A smoker means a rude, disgusting individual who callously emits noxious tobacco fumes into the air, threatening the health and comfort of everyone in the vicinity. Well, this is a persuasive definition. It's loaded down with emotive and normative language that would try to create a bias, in this case, against smokers. A stipulative definition imparts a meaning to the defined term and involves no commitment that the assigned meaning agrees with prior uses, if any, of the term. This is actually probably best construed as a lexical definition of what it is to be a stipulative definition. Heat in a gas is the mean kinetic energy of the individual gas molecules. Well, this is actually theoretically inaccurate. Temperature in a gas is the mean kinetic energy of the individual gas molecules, but that's the idea. It's taking a phenomenal term, a term that we understand through our senses, and is trying to translate it into the language of physics. Love is a temporary insanity that often leads to ill-conceived unions lasting only long enough to restore sanity. This is a persuasive definition. This is definition of love written by someone who's not currently in love. Contains a lot of negative emotional language. Let's try one more exercise here. List the following in order of increasing intention: puppy, organism, animal, mammal, vertebrate, dog. So as we move from low intention to high intention, we go from things that have fewer properties or criteria that distinguish them to ones that have more and more and more. So the simplest thing here in our list is probably organism. And that would be followed, I think, by animal, then vertebrate, and then mammal. And vertebrate comes before mammal because to be a mammal is to be a vertebrate who has other properties. So reptiles, for example, are also vertebrates. Then dog, I would say, followed by puppy. Puppy is a young dog, a baby dog, and so it's more specific than dog.